Hey, everybody, welcome to this month's issue of Staffing Monthly, where I am excited to bring you a really interesting tool. And you know how I feel about these things. I review tools all the time, and I only bring to you what I think is really interesting. And this is one that 100% caught my attention because the way it was used on me, I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell. And I'm so good at detecting when these types of tools are used on me. And I just know. And this one was built in such an organic, authentic way that I was impressed. And with this type of tool, which I'm going to tell you about in just a second, with this type of tool, I think you have to realize that I have a very high bar at this point because I've demoed a ton of them. And what we're talking about is a LinkedIn automation tool, right? Obviously, in the recruiting and staffing industry, LinkedIn is a major component to our business for recruiting, for finding those passive candidates that might not be yet ready to leave their job for an open role. And you got to kind of nurture that pipeline for doing business development outreach and connecting with decision makers and managers and hiring managers and all of that stuff. Like LinkedIn is such a critical component of what we need to do. And it's becoming ever more critical, yet our time is still very limited. Like we have only a finite amount of time that we can dedicate towards that level of recruiting and prospecting. So we need to leverage technology. We need to leverage tools like Outboundly, which we're going to learn about today. And we need to take advantage of AI and these automation tools in order to amplify our effort to improve the results and the performance that we're actually getting. So I actually had a gentleman reach out to me. His name is Miguel, and he is the founder of Outboundly. And he messaged me through the platform, and it seemed really, really organic. And I'm like, all right, I want to lean into this message. It encouraged me to lean in. And I responded to Miguel, and he picked up the communication, and we had a nice conversation. And I was excited to invite him to Staffing Monthly and share his message and his resource Outboundly with you. And I'm going to stop the story there and welcome Miguel. Welcome to Staffing Monthly, man. Thanks for being here. I'm excited to get into this conversation a little bit further with you.
Hi, Dan. Thanks for having me.
So why don't we, before we jump into how you've made this tool different, why don't you just tell me a little bit about your background? Like, how did you get to be the developer, the founder of this tool? Like, why is it important to you? And what are you trying to do with it for the we'll say the staffing industry specifically?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm a 20-year full stack developer. I've developed a few apps, websites, web designs, mobile apps, you name it, over that time. And throughout that time, I've run a marketing agency. And around 2015 to 2019, I actually ran an influencer marketing platform. And I was trying to figure out a way to grow that platform. And figured out the best way was through Instagram and generating leads through Instagram. That was kind of like the go-to place that a lot of people were finding leads.
Yeah.
And so I actually developed a software called Skyscraper, and that was it would be able to go through Instagram, search through different hashtags or different accounts, and kind of turn Instagram accounts to leads that way. And so that's kind of how I got into the leads game. And that went well until about 2018. I'm not sure if you're familiar about the Cambridge analytical scandal.
I've
It
heard of
might
that.
sound, but yeah. But basically, it's like a big data leak, and it had to do with the election as well. Facebook left a lot of their data open, so they kind of cracked down on that. So basically, that kind of forced the industry to look for a new source of leads. So turned my eyes to LinkedIn and was figuring out a way to have the same amount of scale, but also even improve the approach and to kind of have it more personalized. And so this was around the time that OpenAI just came out with or not before ChatGPT is GPT-3,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so yeah, I was looking into that tech, and it was amazing. I was like, wow, this is crazy. So I was actually using it before to kind of write emails, and then I accidentally left a URL in one of my prompts, and then it pulled up the site information. I'm like, okay, so maybe I could tie this in together with
Ah.
the AI, and where it automatically includes the site information or your prospect and creates the message with it. So that's kind of how I fell into this.
That's fascinating. I love the fact that you were, it was like an accidental discovery. Like you're like, hey, this thing sort of happened, and then it opened your eyes that like, wow, this might actually be able to like level up what I'm even trying to do here. So that's pretty cool. So So then tell me a little bit more about that. Like why, obviously you're not exclusive to the staffing industry, but you reached out to me and like, why does leveraging this for LinkedIn appeal to you in the staffing industry? Like, what are you trying to do here?
Yeah, so I would like even I've been on LinkedIn for a short time, but even with the messages that I received, I noticed that a lot of them are really they've been really generic, and it's very easy to kind of gloss over those type of messages. It really reads as like most of the messages I receive are almost fill in the blank, where it's a hi first name. I noticed you work at company name, how are very impressive. Those kind of messages where it says very easy to look past. So I wanted to figure out a way to personalize and upgrade the messaging experience, not just on LinkedIn but on all platforms as well. So
I I love that. And I'll tell you, man, you're right. All the other ones, they do seem very canned. And that's why I was able to like to detect it. And I had no clue that you used your software on me. Like your message seemed really organic, really authentic, genuine. It didn't seem cookie cutter. And then I remember when you took me through the demo, which I know you're going to share some of the stuff with our audience today. When you took me through it, the aha moment for me, the light bulb that went off over my head, like had me divert my attention. I'm like, I got to go back into LinkedIn here because I'm pretty sure what he's showing me was very similar to what I got. And I'm like, holy cow, like this is like he's got this sort of secret sauce that allowed him to create a really specialized curated message that resonated with me, and I didn't detect it. My BS detector did not go off. So I think it's cool, and I think it's so cool. I just want to jump into it. So I want you to, you can take the reins here. You've got sharing capabilities. Like why don't you show me and show our audience what Outboundly is and what it's capable of doing, and why it's different.
absolutely, will do. So let me jump in. Let me share my screen here. We'll do. All right. Can you see the screen?
Oh man, that's my guy, man.
That's yeah. Well, yeah. I figured out we use Alex since a lot of people know who he is, so they'll kind of get an idea of how it personalizes to the prospect. So, well, yeah, we'll work with Alex. So,
Awesome.
once you have the extension installed, you have access to the Outboundly dashboard. So it's actually deeply integrated within LinkedIn. You can message from multiple places within LinkedIn, which I'll get into. But once you have it installed, you have access to the dashboard. You can just open it up by clicking on the kind of the pull-out bar there, or pressing the extension button at the top of the screen here.
Nice.
So we have 8 different messaging modes that you can use to generate a message. They're all for different use cases. So, for example, there's a template mode, which we'll get into. It's kind of where you provide a full structure of how you want your message to be presented. So, it's similar to if you've used a typical mail merge program where you have access to first name, last name, company name, but it goes a little bit beyond that, which we'll get into. We also have a pitch mode for pitching a product or service where you can provide product name, product category, the description of the product, reason for messaging, and a call to action. And it will generate a message based off that. And it's a similar thing with all the rest of the modes. So you provide a little bit of information about your business or your goal, and it will generate a full message for you. So the main difference between these modes, so the template mode and the rest of the modes, so there's a pitch mode, conversation starter, general, universal for sending out universal messages. Connection request for sending a connection request. Brainstorm, we'll get into that. Recruiter mode for if you're looking to hire people, and the
That's new, but
custom
you
mode.
didn't show me that last time.
Oh, sorry. We can get into that as well. But so the main difference between these modes and the template mode is that these other modes will actually write the entire message for you, while with the template mode you're kind of providing and giving it a guide, and it's kind of it's the most controllable mode and the most consistent mode. So um, the other thing I should mention is that you have the ability to control the tone of the message as well. So these are with the other 7 modes. So with the template mode, it doesn't really follow your tone since you're providing that within your structure.
Right.
But with the rest of the modes, you have your tone control. So casual, engaging, professional. We have quite a few selections you could go through. The length of the message, so normal or brief, and then we have a few language options as well.
Wow.
You can also change the model that it's using. So you can use ChatGPT or GPT-4. if you use ChatGPT, it takes up a little bit less credits. It's a lot faster, but if you use GPT-4, it's probably the highest quality messages that you'll get out of it, but it costs more credits. So,
And
and
do I need a separate subscription to GPT-4 or like the Chat GPT Plus or whatever, or do I not need that if I'm going through Outboundly?
yeah, you don't need that since you'll be basically all you have to deal with is just your one account without Boundly, so you don't have to pay ChatGPT or
Okay,
OpenAI
cool.
directly. Yeah,
That's cool.
perfect. So what I will demonstrate is the template mode. So we'll just go over the template. So there's, like I said, you can message from multiple places. For example, somebody's profile. So when you're on somebody's profile, all you have to do is open up their messaging dialog here, and you can generate a message by opening up the. So we actually have an embedded icon that embeds itself.
Wow.
Yeah, right within the message window. So you can either open that up right here and then press the compose button, or you can generate a message from the dashboard here as well by pressing the compose button. And so if there are any emails and phone numbers that it finds on this page, they'll be listed here. So he doesn't have any listed, but and you also get a quick summary of your prospect up here as well. So we'll see what it comes up with. Oops. We still got that. There we go. So before I read it, I'll actually show you how this template is set up. So right now it's set up to promote Outboundly. Obviously, we use it for our own our own outreach.
Yeah.
So the way that template mode works is that it's basically going to use everything that you provide to it verbatim, and then you have access to your typical mail merge tag. So like first name, last name, and the thing is, these aren't predefined tags. You can write first name or last name any way that you want, and basically anything that's in between the parentheses is going to interpret and then splice into the template. And so, like I said, they're not predefined tags. You could actually put in complex instructions as well. So, for example, so it starts off with hi first name, so it'll slice in this first name, and then I see, and then here's the instruction: say an idiomatic expression that relates to something written in their profile. Be witty. If there's anything mentioned about their personal life in their profile, play off that. And don't write anything that could come off as offensive. So that's one of the first instruction
It's
that
clear instruction. I like it.
yeah, kind of for the message opener. And for the second paragraph, it's going to say, I'm reaching out because of your focus on, and then you see in between the parentheses is main area of focus. So basically the AI is going to figure out based on the page text, what his main area of focus is and splice it in there. And that kind of goes into what Outboundly is. It's a Chrome extension that helps you personalize your emails or messages. And the third paragraph is, let's say you, so it's going to use that verbatim. And then the instruction is provide a brief, specific example of how Outboundly would benefit their cold outreach in their current role. The example should give a scenario of someone that they'd usually be prospecting and mention how in the messages they are perfectly articulated a solution to the pain points that are unique to that prospect. Provide a hypothetical example. Don't just say it. And then it just kind of goes on here. And then it includes a bit to instruction to include a bit how it's a lot faster than using ChatGPT itself. And then it closes out the message here. So as you can see, it's a fairly complex, complicated instruction. And so what is essentially saying is it's going to figure out what is going to figure out somebody that he would typically be prospecting, and then come up with an example of how Outboundly or how he could message somebody, one of his prospects with Outboundly in his current role. So we'll go over how.
Before you read this now, I want to draw some related correlations here. So one, for those listening, I know if you're seeing this for the first time, I know that Miguel and I have gone through a demo already. He knows this inside now. He's excited. He's talking a little bit fast, right? But so we're talking about the template mode. This is the one that you have the most control over. So what he just walked you through is the template that you can create and kind of teach this tool how to do prospecting outreach on your behalf, with whatever tonality you want, with whatever examples. So that's we're doing a deep dive there. What I find really interesting, Miguel, is that this isn't all that different than how a sales manager would actually train like a new salesperson to do outreach. They would say, literally go into LinkedIn and go find prospects that fit this, and then send your messages. And this is how you write your messages. And they might even have some templates and try to be witty or be perfect. Like they would try to use the brand tonality of the company they work for to kind of
Absolutely.
frame it. And they would literally do this. So really what you're doing is you're almost giving the salesperson or sales manager the ability to kind of teach your tool to do that. And then now the tool can do the outreach. And that's why you get that 80 times, kind of expansion, because it's automated. So anyway, I wanted the audience to draw that
Yeah, for
connection. So now
sure.
go ahead and show us what the real deal
Yeah.
is here.
Yeah, and the great thing is you're just explaining it in plain English language. You know, you don't have to be all technical about it. You can just, state it like you're exactly like you said, how you if you're training somebody to reach out. So that's so here's what I came up with. Hi Alex, I see that you're not just hitting the gym, but also lifting businesses to their peak fitness. So that's what I came up with.
Which honestly is actually spot on. And for any of you out there that don't know Alex Hormozy, like he's jacked. I mean, this dude hits the gym, right? He is
Yeah.
jacked. I mean, but he also has opened gyms, and now he actually owns acquisition.com, and he invests in companies to help them scale and grow. So like that's actually a really appropriate first line, you know?
Mhm. And the reason why I say idiomatic expression is because it immediately sets it apart from the typical message that somebody might receive, like where it's hi first name, I see you work a company name. It immediately stands out, and it's a relevant idiomatic expression to what's written in their profile. So it's kind of like, wow, they were really being thoughtful and came up with that. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So the next paragraph is I'm reaching out because of your focus on scaling and transferring businesses. So I figured out that's his main area of focus is scaling and transferring businesses, spliced it in there. And it just uses the rest verbatim. I thought you might be interested in our new tool we just launched, Outboundly. It's an AI-powered Chrome extension specifically designed to write hyper-personalized cold outreach at scale. And then the third paragraph, this is the fun part. Let's say you, so that's what we provided.
Yeah.
Now, let's say you're prospecting for acquisition.com, looking to connect with founders and CEOs of profitable growing companies. You want to pitch the value of partnering for growth acceleration, but these high level professionals receive heaps of unsolicited messages daily. Outboundly can craft messages that stand out by honing in on each prospect's unique situation and business needs, like addressing specific challenges they face at scaling or offering insights into maximizing EBI,
EBITDA. EBITDA.
EBITDA,
Yeah,
EBITDA.
yeah,
So,
yeah. That's
oh,
your
wow.
bottom line, basically.
Oh, got it. While maintaining that professional touch that resonates. And imagine doing this at scale where it would manually take, or sorry, doing this at scale where what would manually take hours is reduced to minutes, allowing you to reach out to 80 times more potential partners while assuring the quality is 5 times better than if you were using ChatGPT. So, yeah, it's a very
I,
detailed use case, what I came up with on the fly there. So, follow that instruction to the T. And I'd say 99% of the time it will nail it. And then it just goes to close off the message there. So that is the template mode. And like I said, so basically you could whatever you provide to the template, your instructions or your mail merge tags, whatever you want to splice in. 99% of the time, it's going to interpret it. You just use plain language, like you're describing it. If you're teaching somebody how to reach out to someone, describe it in that language, and 99% of the time, it's going to nail it.
yeah, that's honestly spot on. And obviously for those watching, like I'm sure that, like Miguel said, a lot of people know Alex. I mean, on LinkedIn alone, he has nearly 207,000 followers. So, but that's there. But you literally saw him just put that prompt and template for this. It was a clean message. So it literally just did that in real time in front of you. And if you're not familiar with Alex Hormozy, I am very much. That message was spot on. And I wouldn't be a bit surprised if Miguel actually hit send if it would have catch the attention. He doesn't respond much because he's incredibly busy, but I
Yeah,
bet it would get his
I got
attention
one.
and maybe even a
Yeah,
response. But
for sure.
yeah, it was
Yeah,
really that was solid.
awesome, great. And I should have mentioned it before I cleared it out, but you can also quickly edit the message as well. So when you click on the Outboundly icon, you have access to the edit button under the compose button. And what you can do is just click on it and you have access to quickly make it shorter, make it more detailed. And then you have your tone option so you can change the tone quickly. Or you could also even provide custom instructions on how you would like to edit it and send it off and it'll come back to you all adjusted for you.
So I love that. And I know you're going to move on to some of the other stuff. And the one part that I want to say, this is what I took away when I first saw the template mode. It might seem daunting if you're just sort of new to Chat GPT, or you're sort of new to these AI tools and you're not quite sure how to go. It can seem a little overwhelming to kind of create that template that way. You don't have to start there. Those are for people that are a little bit more familiar, or maybe have taken a class, or watch some YouTube videos about how to optimize their prompts or whatnot. I also know that Miguel mentioned that he's open to putting together maybe some guidelines to optimize those templates for us. So you don't have to start there. So if that seems overwhelming and you're like, oh my God, I can't do this tool, just know that like that's the most customizable piece. He's starting with all of the horsepower there, but you can see how effective it is. I think, Miguel, now you're going to move into some of the other ones that are more done for you. So if you're just getting into AI and Chat GPT and things, and you're not quite sure how to like take the ball and run with it, like you can use these other modes because it's more done for you and less DIY. Is that fair?
Yep, exactly. So, say if, for example, the general mode, it could be used for anything. Say if you wanted to invite somebody to a conference, or even if you wanted to pitch a product or service, you could use this mode as well. But it's very general. And what I like to usually recommend is, say if you don't have an exact template or an idea for a template, just use one of the other modes, and then once you get a message that you like with one of the modes, turn that into a template. So
Oh,
yeah,
smart. So
yeah.
basically let the done for you do some of the heavy lifting to actually create your templates. That's cool. Can you save templates anywhere in Outboundly, or is that something that we should just like in a Google sheet or something, or what's the plan?
Yeah, no, exactly. So you can save it as a preset, and then once you save a preset, you can save as many as you'd like.
Beautiful.
Uh, Sorry.
Beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So you can save as many templates as you'd like, and every mode, each one of the modes, you have access to saved presets as well. So yeah, that's not an issue.
Love it.
Okay, 1 second here. I'm gonna have to reload this. OB demo. There we go. Okay. So this one is more of the this one isn't a template. So this is the general mode, and it's also aimed at promoting Outboundly. But what I could do is maybe I'll just come up with one on the fly real quick just to demonstrate.
Let's say
So
let's say that I was actually in the early stages of planning a staffing sales summit that was going to be occurring in Orlando from February 20th to 23rd, and I wanted to be prospecting people to either attend or to attend the sales event. It's just
sure, so we
off the cuff there.
sure, awesome. So we'll say we'd like to see if they're they interested interested in attending my staffing sales summit. So, like I said, you can be very vague or sparse like that. Typically, the more detailed you get, the better the templates will perform. But we'll see what
Sure.
will show up with that. So we'll generate from the compose button this time. We'll just let it save. And a lot of the modes actually have it built in where it's going to try to follow that same structure with the template. So I think it's the template mode, and I think the general mode as well. It's actually going to try to come up with an idiomatic expression. So it's actually built right into that mode as well. So we'll see. Let's see what it comes up with. Hi, Alex. Your journey from United Flights to acquisition.com was like a high octane workout for the business brain. Pure adrenaline, no rest days. Your knack for transforming gym operations into thriving ventures speaks volumes about your mastery of scale and strategy. And the second paragraph is I'm orchestrating a staff sales summit that aligns with your heavyweight experience in scaling businesses. It's a playground for ideas where growth enthusiasts spar with strategies. And I believe your insights could be a knockout punch many are seeking. Very interesting. If mingling with fellow growth champions and sharing your playbook sounds like your kind of workout, let's talk. Drop me a line if you're game. And so that's actually based on the tone as well. So I believe it's set to creative, yeah. So
Yeah.
that's why it's kind of that kind of had a slightly witty tone to it. But you could, like I said, you could change your tone to professional or engaging. So it's really going to depend on your brand. But yeah, so that was
You did
and
call it. You
more.
were like, "Oh, that's pretty creative." I heard you mumble that. That
Yeah,
was
yeah, very creative.
but and again,
So,
that's spot on. Like that's a cool intro to do that. So that's another use case. And again, I'm not going to have Miguel go through every use case, but if you're watching this, you can imagine that if you're whether you're trying to recruit people for a specific type of a role, you can just put in there like, hey, I want to see if someone is interested in learning more about a position for a registered nurse or an LPN or a CNC machinist or an operations manager, whatever it might be, right? And you can create the message, look at it, see if it really fits, adjust the brand, using just some simple filters. And once you get that message created for you that you really like, then you can let it go, right?
for sure. And so now, I'll also demonstrate the brainstorm mode. So, like I said earlier, you don't just get your messaging ability; you can actually analyze profiles as well. So, what I can do, so open up the brainstorm tab, just press the analyze Alex's profile button. And what the brainstorm is about is it gives you, I think it's 6 or 7 different insights that you could use to gain more insights into your prospects. So, and these are also great to use before, say, if you have a call with them. It just gives you like a much deeper analysis of who your prospect is, and it also allows you to generate a message based off those insights as well. So I'll just let it finish processing. It actually takes about 30 seconds. So usually it comes up with 7. It only came up with 3 this time, so you might not have that much information on its profile. Yeah. So I'll demonstrate these 3. So you have the first section is challenges or pain points that your prospect might have. So these aren't necessarily something that is he mentioned in his profile, but this is inferred based off of maybe the tone that he's using, the industry that he's in. So, for example, the first one I came up with it was balancing the strategic direction of multiple ventures can be challenging, leading to potential decision fatigue and stress. So you have 10 different pain points or insights that they might have in their day to day. The second section is recent posts. So this is basically a quick summary of the most recent post that he posted to his timeline. So in this one, it says, in this post, Alex mentions that the release of his new book, $100 million Leads, and provides a link to purchase it. So quick summary of that post. The next section is personality and brand voice. So this is also an inferred section. It might not necessarily be something that he mentioned directly in his profile, but it's going to be kind of assuming what his personality is and his brand voice based off his tone and writing. And if he did mention anything about his personal life in his profile, it will show up in this section as well. So, for example, the first one is Alex is likely really driven and goal oriented, given the achievements and rapid scaling of businesses. The second one is physical fitness and health may be a significant part of Alex's personal values, considering the start with the gym. So, very useful insights, especially if you have a call. Like I'll run an analysis on somebody's profile right before a call to quickly gain insights. And there's more sections that didn't show up this time, but the other 2 sections are rapport building questions. So these are questions that you can use to build rapport. Um, the next section is selling questions. So this is based off of your business, and what it will do is come up with qualifying questions that you could ask based off the text of their profile. And so you see there's actually check boxes beside each one of these insights. You can actually choose up to 3. So I'll just choose 3 random, and you can generate a message based off those specific selections. So
Wow.
yeah, it makes it able so you're really able to dive deep and have a lot of control over the final message if without using the template mode. So I'd say this is almost the second most controllable mode. So it's very quick and easy to come up with highly targeted messages in this case as well. So that is the brainstorm mode.
That's pretty
Uh,
solid. I like that a lot because, in sales prospecting, business development, we definitely have kind of the mass audience campaigns that we're running where we're basically sending out a lot of messages to a wider audience, but then you also have the targeted campaigns where you might only have a dozen key targets that you're trying to take through what's probably likely a longer sales cycle. And like that would be great for that because it's going to get even more curated, even more personalized. So I think that's really fascinating.
mhm. Absolutely. And so the last thing I'd like to show is the other locations where you can send a message. So like I said, you can message directly from your connections page. So you can get there by going to your, I gotta move this bar out the way. Second, you can go to your network up here and then go to your connections. And that's how you get to your connections page. And you can also sort it by their names or the most recently added connections. So you can do this manually. You can click on each messaging button if you wanted to do. You can generate messages multiple at a time by just clicking on the compose button each time if you want, or you could actually automate this page as well. So you could go to dashboard, go to your tools section, LinkedIn automations, and go to connections. And here you have the option of where you want in the list for it to start the automation. So you can start from the beginning or continue from where it last left off or from a specific profile. And if you're using a specific profile, then you would just go to where in the list you want to begin, right click on the avatar, copy the link address, and you just paste it in here and it will start from there. And so with each one of these modes, it's going to always, or with all the automation modes, it's always going to use the template mode, since the template mode is the most consistent and the most controllable one. So that's the only one
Right.
that can't be automated. So just keep that in mind. Um, so in this section here, you said how many messages you would like to send out. So 70 is the most you can. You can go over that, but um, typically I would recommend going over 120 just to stay under the radar. But yeah, you can
Yeah.
go over 70 if you'd like to. And
And
then the
is
last
that in a campaign or a day? Like what period of
a
time?
day, yeah. No,
Okay.
yeah, 120 a day. So, and then the last section is if you want to use Outboundly to generate the message. So that's going to use a template mode. If not, then you can just provide your own message and you have access to the first name mail merge tag. And if you're not using Outboundly to generate the message, then it's free. It's not going to take up any credit. So it's a good thing about that. In this case, we will. And then you would just say start automation. That pops up your status window so you can keep track of the status. Right now, it's going to look for where in the profile that prospect is, and then yeah, it's going to go through and start messaging every person.
And it'll go and message every person until it gets to 70 and then it will stop.
Yeah, exactly. And then the next day, you can just say choose flip the switch over to begin where it last left
Gotcha.
off, and yeah, you can slowly go through your list that way as well.
And then
So
one thing I do like about this is you got that button that says don't send a message to someone you've already messaged because like it's annoying. In
yeah,
fact, this just happened to me the other day with someone that was clearly using a more generic LinkedIn outreach tool. They messaged me and it was my information. They got my company name wrong, so I don't know how their merge tags were working, and it wasn't super relevant. I'm like, and then they literally messaged me again, and it had a different first name and a completely different
okay,
company name. And
yeah,
both times the message, and I'm not trying to speak disparagingly about it, but both times the message was trying to promote their service for me to use them as an outsourced outbound outreach tool because they professionally do this. And I'm like, I
yeah,
like do not see what's happening here. But so I
yeah.
like that. That's a really nice safety feature, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you don't want to be sending out the initial message twice. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So,
Yeah.
yeah. And then once the automation is done, you'll have the ability to download the results, and that'll just give you a CSV file with all the results. It'll say the status, the message that was sent, and then the prospect that you sent it to. And so you could actually do the same in Sales Navigator as well. So you could go to directly to somebody's lead right here. You can go open up the message window to send it manually. Compose from here. You can also send out connection requests by going to the connection request dialog and compose button right here. And you could also automate it by going to the dashboard tools, LinkedIn automations, sales navigators, similar to
Okay.
the connections. And you can just choose which what you would like to send. So you can send out a message or a connection request. If you're sending out messages, you can actually have it fall back to sending out a connection request. So I usually just send it to message and then have it fall back to connection request if messaging isn't available. So that's if you run out of email credits or they don't have an open profile, then it will fall back to
Yeah.
connection request. Then you just set how many, and then if you want to use Outboundly to generate the messages or a connection request, that could be fully automated as well. And like I said, Outboundly is deeply integrated with LinkedIn, but it does work on any website as well. So, for example, let's go to X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. Um, so we'll just open up. You can go to any website, and once you click on the Outboundly icon, that'll open up. And basically, whatever page you're on, it's going to use that text as the basis. So if you happen to be on another social media page, like say like X or Facebook or Instagram, it's more knows that it's a social media page, so it's more able to pick it up and fine tune it for that. But like I said, you can use it on any page. It could be your prospect's website, their blog post, and it will base the text on, base the message off the text on that web page. So the way that you do it from a website is you just press the compose button, and it will come up with, usually on a Twitter profile, it's going to use maybe the most recent post, and it's mostly based off the bio as well. So, for example, here's what it came up with: charged by your electrifying journey from Rose to the Powerball. Tesla, I see innovation in every post. As a fellow pioneer with the AI tool that turns LinkedIn profiles into smart outreach, I love to connect and possibly energize our networks. So yeah, there's our
Nice.
based off a Twitter post. So yeah, and
That's
like I said, any website. So say if you're using Google as your lead gen and you're searching for say agencies in New York, we'll just pick a random one here. You can go to the website and then generate email just by pressing the compose button as well. So same process. And like I said, for when you press the compose button, it will search for any emails or phone numbers on the page. So you see I found a phone number here. And yeah, it makes it really easy. If it did find an email, you could actually click on the email, and it will automatically copy whatever the generated message is into the email, and open up your default email program and splice it into there.
that that is fascinating, man. I think this is like, it's definitely above and beyond a lot of the other tools that I've seen out there in this space. So I definitely commend you for doing this. And yeah, I think this is, again, very, very interesting to me. And it's something that I'm obviously, I got myself a subscription to it, and I'm playing around with it. It's a lot of fun, and I'm going to start figuring out very specific case studies and ways to really deploy this, because it's really good. What you're developing is it's
Thank
good.
you. Awesome. Great. Appreciate it. So
It,
yeah, that's the extent of it. It's we like I said, there was one more thing I wanted to mention, that we actually do have a few more features down the pipeline. It's not implemented yet, but you will eventually have the ability to upload a CSV list and automate that. So you can have a CSV list of profiles and websites, and it will generate messages for each. Email integration. So workspace email or Office 365 email, you'll be able to send emails directly from the extension. And our first CRM integration or total integration will be with Zapier. So Zapier actually connects with a lot of CRMs. So
yeah,
that's the first one we're
you're
working
just
on.
going to use this app to connect to the likes of like HubSpot or things like any. So that would be the next thing in the staffing space. Obviously, like CRM is big in sales, but ultimately everything is driven through the applicant tracking system, or ATS. So
Yeah.
getting integrations into things like Aviante would be critical. And speaking of that, I do want to come back. I saw that recruiter mode. Like, just I don't know how, I don't remember seeing that last time when we spoke. So can you tell me just a little bit about recruiter mode?
Yeah, so this one's it's a mode that's kind of fine tuned towards if you're looking to hire people. So the information that you provide with this one is job title, company name, describe the opportunity, and the call to action, and then you would just go to the candidate page, compose a message either through the dashboard or the with the message dialogue, and it's going to come up with a. It's basically more fine tuned to kind of bringing up their history, and also um, it words it in a way that it's the most likely to resonate with them and their type of personality. So that's what it's kind of more
Can we
pre-programmed to do.
do you have a couple minutes just to kind of showcase this right now, or are we at
Yeah,
time?
yeah, I
Okay.
can.
And I know the other one you showed in Sales Navigator, because that's more sales side, but does this, like, can you do the same thing with, like, if you had like a LinkedIn recruiter seat? Because that's most likely the recruiter tool that professional recruiters have.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I don't think I have a preset yet. I don't have a preset for this one. So we'll have to come up
Let's
with
just
one. So, do you have a specific example?
let's just put, 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 let's just put HR manager. Let's go HR
So let's
manager.
say HR manager. Say,
And you typically, so the company name would be the recruiting agency. So you can just put ABC agency because you wouldn't typically be announcing who you're
right,
recruiting for just yet.
right.
Um, and then just kind of describe, it could be overseeing the HR team and operations of the company, just something to that effect. You can be generic.
See,
It's okay.
operations of the company, and then the call to action.
Call to action would be, reply if you'd like to learn more about the role, or
Yeah,
reply if you're open to learning.
that's typically what I use for a call to action. So apply the settings. We'll use. Well, I guess we could use Alex as a candidate, but it'll be more for. Do you have any candidates in mind?
Uh, I don't know. Click on Maggie Owen. I mean, I'm just looking at one here. It's
Yeah, we'll just.
actually even the other one is people operations. This would be fine. I mean, it's VP of operations. It's not HR, but I
Okay.
want to see just kind of how it constructs it. I'm not. If people want to see specifically how it goes, they can actually do a full demo with you. I
Right.
just curious about this mode because this one hits.
All right. And I think it's still in creative mode. So if it's a little
Okay.
extra, then that's why. But it says, hello, Maggie. Harnessing the energy of a thriving team is much like personal training. It's all about finding the sweet spot between encouragement and challenge. Your track record in steering operations at Prestige Labs. Oh, so this is Alex Hormozzi's company.
Yep.
Gym launch secret speaks volumes of your leadership finesse and strategic acumen, much like an expertly crafted fitness regimen. Okay, awesome. I'm Miguel Day from ABC Agency, searching for an HR manager with a playbook that blends people skills with operational savvy. Your blend of sports management and education and hands-on experience seems tailor-made for coaching our HR team to peak performance. Nice. Eager to discuss how you can set up a new personal best with us. Let's connect.
So it's good. I mean, and
Yeah,
again, I know this isn't on an HR person, and we didn't really define like what type of HR manager we were really
yeah,
looking
and
for.
also the more information that you provide, the
Yeah.
better as well. Yeah,
But overall, I mean that it really played off her profile, and it made enough connections to the role that made it personable, which is a huge thing we've
exactly.
been missing in recruiting over the years. So
Hmm.
uh, that's cool. I think that's really cool. And anybody that wants to look at this tool for more to power recruitment, especially in LinkedIn, or actually using it to find passive talent in other social media platforms, which are not fully tapped out for recruitment right now, I think Outboundly is a good choice.
Awesome, great. So yeah, that would be the extent of Outboundly. You have your messaging, you have your profile analysis, and the automation tools. Also, it's not just LinkedIn. You can message from a website, and even I've actually seen people use the template mode on websites. And what they do is we have somebody that actually has an instruction to include any previous clients that their prospect may have worked with. So it looks on their website and then splices in any previous clients within that message. So it's very flexible as far as how building your messages. So
I think
just
that's
keep.
pretty. I think that's pretty awesome. One thing I would like to do, maybe in the next few months, maybe at some point in Q1, if you're up for it, is maybe actually having you back to do a workshop specifically about how to use Outboundly. We'll do like a short training series, maybe if you're up for it, to
Yeah,
teach
for sure. That'd be great.
best practices for how to actually use Outboundly for staffing, business development, and then recruitment. And I think that would be really valuable for our community here.
That'd be great. Yeah,
Cool.
absolutely.
Hey, if I know we're at time, I appreciate you going a little bit longer on this and sharing this. This tool is super, super interesting, and I think it's valuable to people that are looking to really level up their LinkedIn outreach. So, but if anyone wants to get a hold of you, or they want to learn more about Outboundly, like what is the best way to connect with you or learn more about this tool, or get a personalized demo?
Yeah, for sure. If you reach out to me on LinkedIn, I'll definitely answer. It's Miguel Day on LinkedIn, Miguel, and Dey is the last name. And you can also reach out to me at Miguel at outboundly.app.
Okay. And I'll get that stuff on page here, and I'll also make sure there's a link that they can actually click to set up a demo. with you. But Miguel, thank you so much for your time and your wisdom. I think this is a really cool tool. I'm excited to dig into it even more and actually apply it to some of the things that we do. So, and as I do, I'm going to share it with the world. And if I run into the things that I think are interesting or challenging, I'm going to reach out to you and say, hey, how do I handle this? Or, have you thought about this? And because I think you're on the right track for developing a LinkedIn tool.
Awesome, great. Well, I thank you for having me, Dan, and thank you for sharing it with your audience.